Welcome back to the channel, everybody. Let's get after it.
Off parties, they're not freak off parties. There's a lot that happens. There's life-size wheels that people attach children to and spin it and decide who's having in what way. There's body cakes. There's party favors. And I'm talking like, you know how you put up a little birthday bag? Like when you go to a birthday party and before you can leave, you take one of those little birthday bags off the table. And then there's toys and like all this stuff for coming to the party. Yeah, instead of that, there's children. They call them party favors. How do you think the kids are doing? You hear the adults saying that they were on liquid IVs after the parties. Hear how many toys they pulled out of his house. I told you how many times that the Playboy is connected to houses. The tunnels connect to homes that connect to really big places, especially the Playboy.
The more I hear about this situation, the more I just hope that we get answers about what the hell was going on. They can't handle this the same way they handled the Epstein case. I feel like this case is way too big and has way too many eyes on it for them to just sweep it under the rug like they did last time.
Wouldn't it be crazy if a documentary team hired by the Discovery Channel discovered a child trafficking ring deep-rooted inside the American government back in 1988? Wouldn't it be crazy if this all started when Lawrence E. King, a political activist from Nebraska, was arrested on $40 million worth of tax fraud? Wouldn't it be crazy if funding for this documentary was pulled after connections were made between Boys Town church camps and recruiting of young men and women for special parties? Wouldn't it be crazy if, despite numerous cases of individual allegations, two separate congressional grand juries decided the entire thing was some elaborate, well-orchestrated hoax? Wouldn't it be crazy if they actually imprisoned some of the victims? Wouldn't it be crazy if the FBI and the CIA lost all the evidence in the Lawrence E. King case? Wouldn't it be crazy if Senator Lawrence Schmidt claims he was threatened on the floor of the legislature by an anonymous call? And wouldn't it be crazy if the investigator hired to look into this case died mysteriously in an airplane disintegration crash with his...
I'm going to link a Wikipedia article in the description of this video that I'm almost certain is the detailed breakdown of the case this guy's talking about. I'd never heard of this before. After reading that Wikipedia article, though, I'm convinced there was something to those accusations and the hoax narrative was just a cover-up. It just reads as highly suspicious.
It's like it's about to be 2020 all over again. And while everybody is focused on the election, focused on internet drama, you need to be focused on your health. We are in the middle of a pneumonia outbreak, and doctors are saying that it may be worse than COVID. So what I'm hearing is this pneumonia is caused by a bacteria called mycoplasma pneumonia. And the reason that they're calling it walking pneumonia is because a lot of people have it and they won't even know. They'll be walking around with a dry cough with little to no symptoms, and they have it. Sometimes you might have a fever, sometimes you might feel a little fatigue, but these are signs that you need to check out. And what doctors are saying is, if you have a fever, if you have a cough that you have for more than 3 to 5 days, you need to go see a physician. I just saw a video where a parent said her kid had a fever of 104 degrees. That's dangerous. And none of this information is to scare you, to have you walking around fearful. This information is to let you know that at the times we're in, you got to pay attention.
Be careful getting too wrapped up in any new illnesses that are being talked about. We just saw yesterday where they came out and admitted that the lockdowns and everything was just them seeing how much we would put up with. We should all absolutely be worried about our health, but don't panic and think things are going to get bad again. Honestly, the way he was describing that you walk around with symptoms and you don't even realize you're sick, it really doesn't sound that bad. Hey, if you're enjoying this video and you like this type of content, I post a new one just like it every day, Monday through Friday. It'd be awesome if you'd hit that subscribe button and come back on Monday to join me. Also, don't forget to check out my merch store at www.barry-stepp.com.
De Niro's building a $1 billion studio. How is that going to make money? What's the business plan? Is it over 30 years? That's my question.
De Niro's 81, isn't he? Like, what? How old is De Niro?
But that's what I'm saying. In the rating system of Hollywood, PG-13, rated R,
Wow.
Which rating is the most profitable?
I would say PG.
Wrong. It's G. The children's films that are animated stories like Cinderella are the most profitable in all of Hollywood, and yet they're 30% of the production. So why would the system make 70% of something that doesn't make as much as the 30%? Why? Because it's spiritual. Because the devil runs Hollywood. And he wants that negative 70% to teach your kids all these other things. But the 30%, which makes the most money, is happiness and loving your mom and dad, and they make the most money. Why would Hollywood make less of the most profitable?
Yeah, that doesn't make any sense at all. You would think every studio in Hollywood would be another Disney or Pixar. I get that there needs to be a variety in what's released so that people have options, but it doesn't make sense that most of that stuff is in the less profitable category until you think about the fact that they care more about propaganda, about pushing out an agenda, than they care about the money.
In a 347-kilometer long Mexican cave deep underwater, researchers have discovered a mysterious skull, implanted with an electronic microchip like in a science fiction movie. And this huge cave consists of 250 pits formed naturally and contains 198 ruins, of which 140 ruins belonged to the Mayans. Now, researchers found a human skull lying in limestone, and inside the skull was a metal plate. Now, Mexican archaeologist Pedro Sunchi confirmed the discovery and said without a shadow of a doubt that this skull actually was implanted with an artificial device. Now, the researchers thought it was just a regular metal plate embedded into the skull, but after further research they discovered it's actually something completely different. Now, the researchers, they decided not to talk about it because the technology at the time was not in line with our understanding. According to Sunshi, this is a microchip that was implanted around 12,000 years ago. Because the case is top secret, no one knows why the electronic chip was implanted. Let me know what you think in the comments.
As fascinating as this would be if it were true, I can't help but wonder where he's getting his information from, especially since he's coming right out and saying in the video that they never released this information. If they never released this information, how did this random guy on the internet find out about it? I just feel like we need some evidence at least on this before I can take it serious.
Can we talk about Aqua Tofana? You guys have been asking me to make it for years, and I'll give you one guess as to why I never have. Yep, you got it. It's because it's clear. I'm so glad that we know each other so well. It's odorless, colorless, tasteless, which makes it a very cool poison, but not that much fun for me to make. If you've never heard of Aqua Tofana, it's a poison that was created in the 1600s and sold as a beauty supply to would-be widows. That's what it says on Wikipedia, would-be widows. I love that. Yes, it was sold to women to kill their husbands. One lucky person is going to get this one in their reject bundle. This is just a tester that I put an Aqua Tofana label on and kind of dressed it up. But I would like to design one for my shop. But how do we do it? Do we have it settle clear and just be super sparkly when it's shaken? Do we do like a silver or a gold? Or I don't know, because it's supposed to be just completely clear and undetectable. So I'd love to have your thoughts on it.
In case you were unaware, there's a new trend on TikTok right now of women making this Aqua Tofana stuff and implying that they're going to off their husbands because they think that it's all men's fault that Trump got elected to a second term. Honestly, I feel like the mainstream media needs to be held accountable for this. They have poisoned the minds of women against their own husbands with their fear-mongering and their lies. It's absolutely pathetic.
I need to talk to you guys about lithium for a minute and how it connects to what's going on in North Carolina. What a lot of people don't know is what the actual cost of lithium is right now. A lot of you guys out there, you know, I'm a potter. I make all my stuff from scratch. Lithium is actually a large component of this red glaze you see right here. Here is a 10-pound bag of lithium. This is how I buy all elements raw in their pound. 10 pounds. When I bought this bag of lithium, it was $9, 10-pound bag. Now, today, this 10-pound bag of lithium is $1,200. So, when you hear, and I'm getting lots of reports that the federal government is attempting to seize Castle Rock, North Carolina, that land, and other flood-devastated lands because of the lithium deposit that is underneath it. The amount of money we are talking about in that lithium deposit is in the billions of dollars. This cannot be allowed. This cannot be allowed. And I can't, the feasibility of electric cars and lithium going forward at this amount of money, I don't understand how that is even possible. Strip mining Appalachia for lithium is not green. Electric cars are not green. All of the shit that goes into it, they are going to destroy that area for greed and green energy bullshit. Bullshit. Oil is a naturally occurring, renewable resource. Pull your heads from your people. If you still think dinosaurs had anything to do with oil, you're probably voting for camel toes, because that's how dense you have to be to not understand how this world works. They would have had to dinosaurs and oil. It's just absolutely not even close to logically possible. They have found hydrocarbons on other moons. There's no dinosaurs on the moon Titan. No, there weren't. So that's how you know hydrocarbons, oil, is not related to mother dinosaurs. We are getting played so bad. The media is so corrupt. The government is so dishonest. Everybody, I don't know how we can save Appalachia after this devastation. The government is blocking resources. They are blocking help. FEMA is seizing donated money from a high school. Our government is so far out of control. These bureaucrats, we probably ought to start and teaching lessons. I don't know what else there is to say. Like, arm yourselves in the Appalachians, and I know you guys are, and just pile them deep. I don't know what are we supposed to do? What are we supposed to do here? The Leviathan that is the corrupt government is out of control. If somebody knows how we can save North Carolina from this treachery and thievery that is about to take place, please let me know. Drop it in the comments, because we need to save the Republic. Good luck to all of you, and long live the Republic.
$1,200? That's insane. No wonder they're trying to steal everybody's land. What they need to do is share the wealth with those people. If the land is really so unstable that it's uninhabitable, which I don't buy for a second, then they should at the very least pay those people what their land is worth, with the value of the lithium calculated in. If you discover oil on your property, you have the rights to it. Why is this any different? This is an absolute travesty. I just can't believe this is being done right in front of our faces. Everybody knows this is a land grab, and nothing's being done to stop it.
How can there be an argument against this? I genuinely cannot understand.
The human genome, the DNA molecule, is an information-bearing molecule. Look up there. EXIT. You see 4 letters. You know that has a meaning. And you will deduce immediately that whatever physical processes went into producing that, there's a mind behind it. And yet, some of my colleagues can look at the DNA molecule with the word 3.4 billion letters long and say it was chance and the laws of nature. You know, I say to them, tell me the origin of what you do science with, your brain or your mind. And they say, well, the brain is the end product of a mindless, unguided process. And I smile at them and I say, and you trust it? Tell me honestly, if you knew that your computer that you're going to use tomorrow in your lab was the end product of an unguided, mindless process, would you trust it? And from every scientist I've asked that question, with hesitation, I've had the answer, no, I would not. And I said, I see you have a problem.
As a non-Christian, that man makes a good point. My only thing is, I don't hold the belief that we all got here by chance. I just simply hold to the fact that I don't know. I have no clue, and I've yet to be convinced by any of the origin stories that I've been presented with. I will say this, though, watching these videos may make a believer out of me. The more I watch, the more the God of the Bible makes sense.
I was exiled from Wikipedia years ago.
Was you even suggested the idea of some sort of intelligent design?
That is correct. When I went on national television and said the existence of God is actually amenable to logical analysis, and you can show that there is a God. That was enough. Intelligent design creationists, get out of here.
You're talking about Richard Dawkins, Daniel Dennett.
I'm talking about Richie Dawkins, Daniel Dennett, Sam Harris. He hated my guts 20 years ago. None of them will mention my name because they know that they can be crushed. Deep down inside, they know they won't come anywhere near me. At some point, these people decided that they had to exclude anybody who could beat them. And now, since new atheists are a lot more fashionable than Christians are, that's the order of the day.
Does God exist?
Yes. Reality has an identity. The identity is that as which something exists. You say the word reality, you're naming an identity.
Your answer on this is so beautiful. Just reminds me of Moses at the burning bush. Who shall I tell the people that you are? Talking to God. And God says, tell them I am that I am.
That's right.
I am identity itself.
That's exactly right. That's what the CTMU says. It just comes up with a mathematical structure that you need to build a reality out of that. So you come up with that identity and then you search it for its properties. Once you've built the preliminary framework, then you start deducing the properties of this identity, and you find out that those properties match those of God as described in most of the world's major religions.
What should I do in my own life?
Ask God to establish a personal relationship with you. It's available.
What exactly does he mean by I am identity itself? This is one of those clips where I feel like I'm missing the greater point. Can someone break this down in layman's terms for me? I feel like this probably has a very important message in it, but I'm just not grasping it.
You know what the C40 consortium is? Yeah, well, they're a lot of fun. 40 of the biggest cities in the world. They've all signed on to this. So what's their agenda? You can't even believe this is true. One short-haul flight per person every 3 years. 95% reduction in private automobile ownership. No meat consumption.
I know.
No meat consumption.
I mean,
right? And finally, 3 items of clothing a year. That's their plan.
No.
Absolutely. 100%.
3 items of clothing.
C40. 3 items of clothing. How much bloody clothing do you need? The planet's at stake.
This is absolutely ridiculous. So the planet's going to die faster if I have too many t-shirts? I swear, hearing some of their solutions to this global warming problem makes you feel like they're making the whole thing up as they go along. There's no way they have a scientific study to back up that game plan. They're just pulling ideas out of thin air with intentions on subjecting us to a bunch of new draconian laws and restrictions. Makes no sense whatsoever.
The Bilderberg meeting is an annual off-the-record forum. The group's agenda is bolstering capitalism around the globe. But what's wild, all these people that weren't that important, they would attend these Bilderberg meetings, and then they become presidents, they become prime ministers.
So they're invited?
They're invited, but after they go...
And all of a sudden they're famous.
Yeah, so Obama went before he became president, Clinton's went.
So many people.
This could be the progression of a one-world government.
They're making decisions that affect the whole entire world.
Yeah.
And that takes democracy out of the window.
Oh, what's crazy is that he spelled out this hypothetical situation, but it was literally what people for a long time have predicted of the end of the world, with the Antichrist, the mark of the beast.
Right.
So talk about this implement of a chip, but what this chip does is it also affects your hormones and stuff to where you become more compliant to this new system. You could really think of the COVID vaccine being a test run of how compliant people will be and how much they'll be pressured into getting it. And you think of all these cities like New York and stuff, you couldn't travel, you couldn't go into a restaurant unless you had the vaccine card.
Yeah.
And it's a test run.
It absolutely was a test run. They just come out and admitted to it the other day. I honestly think this is probably how they used to choose who was going to rise to power. But I don't think they have the same authority that they once had. I think those secret elitist groups are about to be a thing of the past. People are catching on to these unelected psychos trying to call all the shots. And where you used to be able to follow what they were saying and then see that start to trend into society, now the society is trending away from what they're wanting to pull off. I don't think they'll be able to accomplish any of their goals.
When you walk up to a door and you open it, what you compulsively have to do to perceive is to make decisions. Thousands of decisions about the size of the room, the walls, the height, the objects in this room. 99% of what you see is not what comes in through the eyes. It is what you infer about that room. So I can say with some certainty, I think, therefore I am.
Okay, so I already posted a video about this. And before we get to the optical illusion, let me give you a refresher. If you look around yourself right now, your eyes are only taking about 10%, and your brain puts the rest of the picture together. This is called top-down processing, which involves filling in the gaps with raw sensory data based on memories, context, and expectation. This is why there can be illusions that trick your brain, like this. Nothing was moving on there. If you just focus on one point, you'll see it. It's just blinking in different colors. This really shines a light on the fact that we are projecting our reality. Your brain's just putting it together. 8 billion different people on this earth, 8 billion different perspectives. People can be looking at the same thing and see it differently. This happens with communication too. Vast majority of human beings project their opinions onto what other people are saying. You're not actually listening or trying to understand them. Your brain's making assumptions. And this is why all the mystics, all the spiritual greats throughout history have said the outer world is just a reflection of your inner world. Because it is, the vast majority of what you see and what you perceive is just your projections.
This is completely just a baseless theory, but they just put a moratorium on all those jabs over increased risk and blood clots to the brain. What if those clots are forming, causing the brain to process information incorrectly? What if that's where demon face syndrome comes from? It's messing with people's top-down perception, causing them to fill in the gaps incorrectly. I'm just throwing that idea out there because I haven't heard any good theories yet on this demon face syndrome.
I have a really weird story. So this guy, his name is Cliff High. It was 1997. He developed this software program called WebBot, and what it would do, it would scan the entire internet, collect data, it would make predictions for the stock market. But then he delved into it a little more. It's just like, let's see like what else it can predict. In 2009, it came up with a prediction of the future that there was going to be a battle in the air with the military and UFOs, and that even UFOs would be fighting UFOs.
Whoa.
But there had to be a trigger to
set it in motion.
Yeah, set it in motion. It said that when this trigger happens, then 39 days later, this prediction will come true. Here's the crazy part. 2009. The trigger was Donald Trump would be interviewed by Joe Rogan.
Bro, no.
Nuh-uh.
No way, dude. That's crazy.
We've talked about this theory before, but I wanted to highlight just how close we are to this date. It is just around the corner. December 3rd will either be another failed prediction or the start of the false flag alien attack. I just wanted to point this out to anyone who wasn't aware. Now, I don't usually like predictions, but this one is pretty interesting. Rogan wasn't even big in the podcast scene yet, and Trump wasn't even running for president yet whenever this prediction was made. That's a fascinating detail. The countdown begins.
I commend the Globers, as it takes a whole lot of faith to believe that the Earth is a globe. Most Globers today don't even deny the fact that the Earth will always appear to be flat, but they say that it's an optical phenomenon, that refraction is actually bending light in a certain way to make the Earth always appear to look flat when really it's not. That little island there is like 25 miles away or something insane like that. So in order to believe something like this, it takes a tremendous amount of faith. But you see, in the globe model, the horizon is only supposed to be about 3 miles away from the 6-foot observer height. So that's pretty close. And all of these observations are far beyond that point. Some of them up to 35 miles away. So how big would the Earth have to be for a horizon to be 35 miles away? Well, in your belief system, the spherical worldview, that would place Earth the size of Jupiter. And already that's a massive difference. And that's only a horizon that's 35 miles away. Now, if a simple observation like 35 miles places the Earth at this circumference compared to this, then imagine what 200 miles, 300, 500, we've had up to 700 mile observations. Come on.
Alright, I can't help but feel like this video was directed at me. I made the suggestion yesterday that the Earth may be larger than they're telling us. After making that video, I actually saw the flaw in my own theory, for a different reason. If the Earth was larger and the quarter theory was true, like I wanted to think yesterday, then saying we're on a ball would make no sense. China wouldn't be on the other side of the world if we're going off a full Earth moon map, which is kind of the basis for the quarter theory. But I still have a problem with why China has a different night sky than us if we're all on a flat plane staring at the same stars. But guys and gals, I'm going to go ahead and end the video right there. I hope you enjoyed these clips we watched together today. I'll be back on Monday with another video. I hope you come back to join me. Don't forget to leave a like and subscribe if you haven't already. And don't forget to check out my website at barry-stepp.com, where you can order yourself a shirt or a hat or a hoodie. It helps me support the channel, and I tremendously appreciate anyone who's ordered anything off of there so far. And don't forget to post the photos of your merch over in the Discord to get your photo in a video. But with all that out of the way, I hope everyone has a great, safe, fantastic rest of your day and a fantastic rest of your weekend, and I will see you all on Monday.